Hello students. So students, we are solving NCERT class 11 chapter 3 motion in a straight line questions, and student you can find out link of solution of all questions of this chapter below in description box. Student, we have also solved questions of SC Verma chapter 3 rest and motion. SC Verma, you know, that is important book for all those students who are preparing for IIT or NEET examinations. So we have also solved all questions of that chapter rest and motion. You can also find out link of solution of all those SC Verma questions below here in description box. Okay student, and so please, if any student is new on this channel, subscribe my channel and let us start our today's class. Student, this question is saying, question number 12 chapter 3 motion in a straight line. A ball is dropped from a height of 90 meter on a floor. At each collision with the floor, the ball loses 1/10 of its speed. Okay, plot the speed time graph of its motion between t equals to 0 to 12 seconds. Student, the question is saying, when a ball is dropped, means its initial speed is 0 from a height of 90 meter, at a height of 90 meter from the ground, this is your ground. Okay, then we have to draw its graph, speed versus time graph. Okay student, one thing also is given, that whenever ball strikes the ground, then after rebounding, its speed decreases 1/10 of its initial velocity, initial speed. Okay, let us start how we will draw the nature. This graph in fact is already drawn here. So how will we draw? Student, you can understand, for drawing graph of a speed versus time, we will have to require value of different these parameters, that is time taken by ball to come from this height to ground, that is we are assuming t1. Similarly, with what speed this ball will strike the ground, means we will have to find the value of v1, and similarly we will have to calculate the value of all different parameters. Okay, let us start one by one. Student, firstly we calculate, how we will calculate the time taken by ball to come on the ground. Student, you can see here, height is given 90 meter, 90 meter initial, h equals to ut plus half gt square. From this formula you can write h is 90 meter, initial speed is 0 into t1, time taken is t1, and so from here the value of g we are taking 10 meter per second square, and when we will solve this, the value of t1 becomes 4.24 second. Okay, so the graph will, since the ball initially the ball has dropped, means its initial speed is 0, so the graph will start from here. This is your speed axis, this is your time axis. Now this point is speed time graph. Okay, initially means at t equals to 0, you can say speed is 0, and now speed is 0, and now the speed starts to increase. Speed starts to increase, and it strikes the ground with a speed v1. Its speed now increasing, and after time 4.24 it strikes the ground, and its speed is v1. Student, you can also find the value of v1, speed v1 from this relation, v square equals to u square plus 2gh, where v1 is the final speed, initial speed u is 0, 2gh, height is 90 meter, and from here the value of v1 becomes 30√2 meter per second. 30√2 meter per second means ball strikes the ground with a speed v1 equals to 30√2 meter per second. You can see here. Okay, now what happens thereafter, as the question is saying, the ball rebounds with a speed, if ball rebounds with a speed v2, then the value of v2 will be 1/10, will decrease 1/10 of its initial speed, means its speed will become v1 minus v1 to 10, v1 10% means v1 minus v1 by 10, and finally since we have value of v1 equals to 30√2 meter per second, after putting its value we will get the value of v2 equals to 27√2 meter per second. You can see here its speed will suddenly decrease to v2, from v1 to v2, 27√2 meter per second. Thereafter what will happen, its speed now will start to decrease uniformly due to this acceleration due to gravity, and again at maximum height its speed will become 0, means thereafter at this point its speed is now start to decrease uniformly, and maximum height its speed becomes 0. Speed here is now 0, you can see. Okay, now again time taken, if t2 is the time taken, again from this point to come to maximum height, then you can again find this time taken t2. T2 is in fact what? in fact what student, this is the time taken by the body when projected with a speed v2 to go to its maximum height, and this time is called time of ascent, which you can directly calculate by using this relation. Time of ascent equals to a speed of projection divided by g. And in fact you can also find this relation by simple standard equation v equals to u minus gt, where final speed v is 0, initial speed is v2 minus g into t2, time taken is t2, and from there again you will get this relation, this formula. Okay, so now this is the time of ascent, time taken by the particle to go to its maximum height when projected with a speed v2. So this is given by t2 equals to v2 by g. After putting value of v2, this finally we get this value of t2 is 3.82 seconds. And so total time from here, this t1 plus t2 becomes its value 8.06 second. Means again after 8.06 second its speed will become 0. 8.06 second is your time in second. Okay student, now again what will happen, again the board will return towards ground with initial speed 0, and this is now called time of descent, time taken by body to reach from maximum height to the ground. Okay, and again you can understand this time of ascent and time of descent will be equal. So the value of t3 will be again t3 equals to t2, td is the time of descent, ta is the time of ascent, and similarly, and so time of t3, the value of t3 will again 3.82, and so again the total time will be t1 plus t2 plus t3 equals to 11.88 second. 11.88 second means again its speed will start to increase. Its speed is start to increase as it is coming towards ground. Speed starts to increase, and after 11.88 second, again its speed becomes v3, whose value will be again equal to v2. Always remember, with what speed you throw any body in vertically upward direction, that body will again strike the ground with the same speed. Okay, these are the basic properties you can understand, and I hope you have studied in theory. So the value of v2 and v3 will be again equal. Always remember. Okay, so this is written here, and finally this becomes here v3 and v2 equals to, they are equal, and finally again according to question its speed will again decrease with some speed, let v4, it will start to go in upward direction. Okay, and so this you can see, finally this is our graph, a speed versus time graph. I hope you should have no any confusion. Should we meet in next class with solution of next questions. Thank you.